Hi friends, it's Heather from Muck, and I just wanted to say hello again this week and to just fill you in on something that has really been heavy on my heart and my family's heart for the last really couple of months now, and that has been the Cape Town drought here. And I thought I had lived through droughts before living in the States. And this is just something that I just want to share with you guys, just our journey within this water crisis, because I think it has to do with green living, obviously. And when I used to live in the RV in the States, I thought that, I was doing such a good job of saving water and learning to be green and all of that good stuff. And then here I moved to South Africa in the Western Cape, and we are going through a drought like I have never heard before. I am going to change things up a little bit this week, and instead of me doing all of the talking, I am going to have my husband Jordan share with you, because he knows a lot about this topic and being trained in disaster relief the way he has been. He's actually been recruited to be on a lot of leadership teams here in the area, including one within our city. If nothing else, this will give those of you who live elsewhere besides in the Western Cape. If you live in the Western Cape, then you know because you're doing all this. But if you live elsewhere, especially for a lot of our American friends, this just might give you some good green tips as to how to save water, because I never would have imagined that you could save water in so many crazy ways. Okay, here we go. Let's go meet Jordan.
Hi guys, I'm Jordan, and I am the lucky guy who gets to call Heather my wife. Little disclaimer, I'm not as cheery or friendly or as good looking as she is, but hopefully we can get the job done here. So let's talk about a few of the ways you can be more conscious about the water that you're using. Here in South Africa, like Heather mentioned, we're under heavy water restrictions. We are only allowed to use up to 50 liters per person per day, which equates to about 13 gallons per person. This is Heather and I's South African bathroom here, and the key things is using as little water as you can, and the water that you do use, you want to catch and reuse as much as possible. One of the biggest uses of water in a house is your toilet. And so, like, if you look back here, we've got Heather's tub, and I'll post some pictures as well. This is where Heather is rinsing herself off and doing her shaving and all of that, and you can see how little water that she uses, but we catch that water in the tub. Also in our shower, you'll have a look to see, we had to cap off one of our shower heads because we had two. It's kind of weird, but then we put a water-saving shower head on the other one. And I also stand in the same tub here so that I can catch that water. And then with our sink, we have dismantled it. It's, sometimes it's a total bummer not to have cabinets, but in this regard, it's great because we can dismantle underneath and then have that water flow right into a bucket that we can use. And then most of the water that we're catching in our bathroom goes straight into our toilet. We haven't had the water onto our toilets for quite some time. And also, since flushing uses a lot of water, we often wait, and the saying here is that if it's yellow, let it mellow, and if it's brown, flush it down. So your toilets will accumulate quite a bit of stuff in them before you make a flush, but that's what we generally use the water that we save to pour into. Also, another thing that we've done, just because our toilets are quite a bit older and they're not as water saving, but we've also put bricks inside of our toilet tanks here, just so that we can displace some of that water and it doesn't take as much water to fill it up. Another thing that we do and that they've recommended here in South Africa, which we don't necessarily think is the greatest, but it is a water saver, and that's the use of hand sanitizer. Now in a bathroom, and especially in a country where you have more prevalence of disease and things like that, you do not want to cut out hand washing. And it's really kind of strange here because in public places like malls and schools, they've shut the water off completely. So it's really, and they've gone strictly to using just hand sanitizer. So we will use it on occasion just to save it from turning on the tap, but we try to be wise about making sure that we're washing our hands at the appropriate times and using a full lather with soap and water. One of the last places you probably want to see me is on the toilet, but you're just going to have to get over it. Here we are in our kids' bathroom. South African bathrooms are actually pretty interesting because we have a separate room for a toilet. Our kids have a separate room that has the bathtub in it, and then a separate room for the shower. Makes it really nice for our family because we can have one kid in each room and they're not fighting or squabbling over where everybody needs to get to. So that works out really well. So in the room, in the toilet room here, this is where we have the kids' main sink where they're doing their brushing their teeth and their washing of hands, especially after going to the bathroom. But one thing that I've done is I've set up a 25-liter tank here with a spout on it, and it just gave our kids a visual picture of how much water they're using every time that they do those things. I wanted them to be able to see that water in the tank going down, because anytime you just turn on a tap or faucet, then there's no reference as to how much water is coming out. So that's been a really good way for us to control our water usage here, and I recommend that for you as well. And on this end of the hallway, we have the shower and bath area that I spoke about. And in our bath, we have the same thing kind of like we do in our bathroom, where we have a smaller container to bathe our 2 little ones in that uses very little water, and it's nice because we have a sprayer to be able to wash them off, to be able again to control the amount of water we're using. We also keep a bucket in there just because the toilet room is at the other end of the hallway that we can easily carry with handles down and fill up our toilet. And then the 2 older kids who are taking showers in the other room, they stand in a container as well, and we catch that water and are able to fill that into our other buckets as well. One little side note, in which has been a great water producer for us, has been a couple dehumidifiers that I was able to purchase some time ago because it helped control the temperature in our house. The homes here in South Africa don't have central heat and air, and so you do the best you can with heaters or fans, but the dehumidifier made a huge difference as far as temperature, and just felt like very healthy air as well. But the bonus from that is that they are constantly producing water, and so the water that comes out of there is very clean, but we use that as well for different purposes: flushing toilets, watering the garden, and everything else you can use gray water for. So that's been a huge bonus that I recommend. Here we are now outside in our lovely garage where we keep our washing machine, and this is where a lot of our water usage goes, just because we are a family of 6. Also because we are working in a lot of the poorer communities here, so we generate a lot of laundry just from being exposed to areas that are more prevalent in disease, and then just there being a lot more dirty things in the areas that we're working in. So we do have a large capacity washer, which does save quite a bit of water because we're able to run larger loads, which they recommend here. Also, another thing that we've done is that through our trusty steel slam gate here, which is just how you live, behind bars and walls and things like that because of the crime, I've run our washing drain line to some buckets out here where we can catch the water from our washer and use that as well. This is our infamous kitchen that has not been updated since 1974, but we do the best we can with it. With washing our dishes, it's pretty simple. We just use one sink to fill up, just to control the amount of water we're using to wash dishes. We have another container here in the sink that we're catching the gray water when we're rinsing those dishes off, and then obviously air drying. We don't have a dishwasher here, but this seems to be great, and we're really trying to save as much water as we can here. Another thing that we're doing in our kitchen is trying to compost as much as we can as well. That doesn't really seem like much of a water saver, but compost is often very moist and rich and can be another way that you can add to your garden to help bring moisture and health and nutrients to your garden as well, without having to water or add other things to it. So that's been another water saver. So I just want to say thanks, guys, for giving me the opportunity to share. It's been really fun, and I hope you've learned a few things that can maybe help you save some water in your own homes. And if you guys could just be thinking and praying for South Africa as well. We need rain, and we need these water restrictions to be lifted just so that life can get a little bit easier here. Thanks so much, guys.
Well, friends, that concludes our tour of our home, and I hope that that gave you some more great ideas as to how to save water, and just to realize that even though water is something that in general seems like we have so much of, it's a natural resource that's in abundance, you still, it is possible to run out of it. So like I said, I hope that that just gave you some encouragement and motivation just to think twice before you use water. And also, I hope you enjoy getting to know Jordan a little bit too. So maybe if he's requested, he can join us for some more videos. And please, any questions that you have, just comment below and I will be happy to answer them. And remember, a life with no muck is your very best life. See you next week. Bye-bye.